Scoundrels web series and podcast is filmed and recorded in their ship, the Centurion Vulture, and may contain language not suitable for all. Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome to Scoundrels, y'all. We are broadcasting from the Centurion Vulture. I am CG.
I'm Paul Bannister.
Curtis Wayne Millard standing by.
We are three grown-ass men here again, as always, to talk about Star Wars. Let's start off by doing a collective high five and a big thank you to the small but growing group of people.
Yeah.
We hit 100 subs on YouTube.
This is our fifth episode, right? Or fourth?
Yeah, fifth.
Fifth episode.
Well, it's one. What do you do? 2 episodes before the.
We did an intro episode.
Intro, yeah. That's more of a hello. How are you today?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a test.
Anyway,
run.
it feels good. We appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Do keep helping us spread the word. Like we said many times, we're just getting started. So
rolling.
Anyway,
I know there's more scoundrels out there.
Indeed.
Let's keep them
So
rolling in.
new Obi Wan episode we all watched this morning to discuss. I'm just gonna make this one point now because I know we all feel the same way. Mostly because, in general, I was way less bummed with this episode, except for this one continuing problem, which I think is going to always be an issue with this series, and so we can sort of get this out of the way. The music. The music. It's so low budge. It's so shitty. It's becoming more of a thorn in my side, where it's starting to feel, and I know this is an irrational way of looking at it, but it feels like they're just refusing to use the Star Wars themes that they have access to that nobody else in the world
They
does.
must be.
Well, that's what I don't get. It's like, I know they have a budget, but you have access to this stuff. You have them in archives. You don't have to, and I was listening to the music, and it's like, it doesn't sound like a real orchestra. Like, I have Spitfire plugins that sound like more orchestral than what they're using. I was like, this just, it doesn't sound good.
Yeah.
It sounds very like they just either they don't want to hire somebody to, but I mean, it's Disney. You've got money, hire someone. And I mean, if you ever go back, I love watching Building the Empire documentary.
Yeah.
And you see tidbits where they show Star Wars without the music and how kind of lame it is. It just there's
so
scenes
weird.
that and you can hear when you that are just so impactful. And then you watch them without the music. It is like, what the hell is this? So it's like, as for me as a musician and a composer who loves underscoring and incidental music, it's so important. Music makes or breaks films for me. There's films that I love that might not necessarily be the best, but the music is so captivating.
But all filmmakers know that is the thing.
It's true.
And especially in Star Wars. It's not a big secret that the music is one of the most important, quote, characters in the whole experience of Star Wars. And Curtis and I were talking, it seems impossible to me from a business standpoint that they don't have access or the rights to do this. But in the absence of in the absence of any reason for why they're not using these themes, you can't help but wonder if there is some actual reason. My speculation, which is disappointing, is that they've made a conscious choice to leave the main themes for films and not TV series, which seems like a crazy stupid choice because you're just arbitrarily choosing to make this series feel less triumphant and celebratory and like Star Wars. And I said this to Curtis too, in the 2 episodes of Rebels I tried to watch, they're fucking going all in on the Star Wars music, and it almost is one of the main things that makes it feel like Star Wars, even in an animated setting, because you're hearing in the space battles and the chase sequences.
It takes it to the next level.
I could understand wanting to not overuse the John Williams stuff, but use it sparingly then.
Yeah.
It's just weird.
Which is
or
apparently,
even if you're not going to use those themes, put something there that's going to create tension, create some kind of vibe. It's okay. All right.
I was thinking,
Yeah. But you're going to, like you said, it's like if they're saving that for the movies, well, you brought Vader in, you're bringing in these biggest characters in the entire franchise. and it's just kind of lame because the music, like going back, you cut in the Imperial.
Go watch
March
the last
theme.
episode. Curtis did that, mocked it up so you can see what those moments feel like with the Imperial March.
I think we made a clip. Yeah, and who knows if that's the right choice, but it's clearly more impactful. But
if
I was
they had
surprised that some people didn't agree.
Well, I mean, for me, when you showed that and I watched, I was like, I feel like I would have liked episode 3 more if they had it because it just felt bigger.
100%.
And it just didn't feel as big. Like, it's like, I know that's Darth Vader and I know this is supposed to feel big, but something's missing and it doesn't feel as big as it should.
Yeah, people were saying, well, it's not supposed to feel that big just yet because I was like, well, A, how many times are these dudes just going to run into each other? And B, it's a big deal. He cut your arms off.
Well, it's like
and
it's
your
not
legs.
supposed to be that big. It's like, well, you already showed him your hand.
It's also just
like,
not consistent with Star Wars. Like, since when did Star Wars hold back on using their music in the Star Wars stories?
Yeah,
like,
it's never been like a subtle. It's not like a Hans Zimmer fucking like subtle art film. This is a space opera.
Correct.
Yeah.
Amen.
Fucking dickweed.
Well, so many moments where there isn't
Well
any
said.
music, like anything, and there's like there's where's the tension? Where's the build? Like it's
so weird.
I don't know.
It's very strange. I don't want to again.
opera.
That's kind of why I wanted to lead with it, just because I want to make it clear that this is a fundamental problem that I think we're all going to experience. And I don't want to spend half of every episode continually bitching about the music because it seems pretty clear to me now that it's just not going to be great in this series, and we're just going to have to swallow that bitter pill.
It doesn't have to be John Williams tunes, but it just doesn't. It's not impactful.
There's so many good composers out there you could hire to just.
But they don't even need great composers. The themes exist.
Yeah,
they just need to have someone who can work with the existing themes. Like right now, it's not like objectively a dumpster fire. It's just super generic symphonic action sequence scoring.
Yeah.
It's just not interesting. It's
like
not
you could probably
anything.
pop on Pawn 5 and maybe do relatively,
which is so strange because
close.
They can. We were talking. You go back and watch. I was playing the Return of the Jedi score in the house this morning. Like when Curtis walked in, it was like playing in the house, and it was playing the whole space battle during the Endor battle, and when Lando's cruising around the Falcon, and you're like, oh yeah. The action sequences also have there'll be a thing and a fighter gets shot out of the sky, and then it'll be followed by the music.
Oh yeah,
like all those moments feed into what is fun.
It builds it. It takes it to the next level.
It's just the fun. It means that you're taking a little bit of the fun out of Star Wars, and because this is not Schindler's List, you should be maximizing the fun potential at all times in Star Wars.
Pump
this
it
isn't
up.
fucking rocket science.
Well, it's like, what are they? You're trying to make it more of a drama or something? It's like, what? I don't. But even then, like music, it makes, for me, it makes or breaks anything. And right now, it's like, we don't have to mention it unless it changes and gets better. Then we'll talk about it more. But you're right. It's kind of a dumpster fire. The music, it just doesn't sound good. It doesn't.
It's just generic.
Add anything. It's
not Star Wars music.
It's a bit of a dry hump.
It's a utility to you. It's a resource you have to really kind of just take something to the next level. And they're missing everything.
It was less of an issue for me in Mandalorian because Mandalorian was a completely new character. We were in some new environments, sorta.
They're not Jedis either.
Correct. It's not. There's no lightsabers and exactly. It's Darth Vader for fuck's sake.
But Mando had its
Obi-Wan.
own original music. Like I just rewatched Mando the first season, and the show's so good. Yeah. And it has its own music. Like it has its, and they use it. It's just so good.
Yeah.
But this
even when Luke turned up in Mandalorian, they didn't use Luke's theme, which would have been better in my opinion.
Yep.
But it still was powerful music.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not John Williams level, but
let's put it this way: I can still hear it. You know that moment when he's already fought everybody and the door opens and there's like everything's quiet and you hear just like the single notes back and forth.
It was good stuff.
Or even when the X-wing was flying in, there's like you could hear like
it was
tickles.
better than this.
You knew who it was without knowing who it was. You know what I mean? It was great.
Anyway, we can move on from it.
We could probably have a whole episode about this.
Yeah, it's an issue. It's probably not going to get resolved. Having said that, this was not anywhere near as bad as last week's episode. I
had fun.
Yeah, this was more fun.
Yeah. It's so funny. I watched it twice. I know we watched it separately, but together at the same time. I had to watch it again because I felt it's funny when a show's really good, you're more forgiving of things. So when I watched it for the first time, I was a little more like tense, I think, and I was like hating on. Every little detail bothered me. And then I had to stop. I was like, no, come on, don't be an asshole. Like, just try it again. And then the second when I watched it again, I was like, okay, no, way better, way better than the last episode. Yep. I don't necessarily think it was a step forward necessarily, but it definitely wasn't a step back.
Yep. And that feels like a win given what happened last week.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, people out there, I just want to know what your the consensus is, and the general public did Darth Vader let Obi-Wan go?
At this point, I don't think so. Like,
it doesn't seem like it, but
it doesn't feel like it.
From a filming standpoint, it looked like that was the only excuse.
Yeah.
Yes.
But, again, if I am the Emperor, that moment is the reason why I got thrown. The reason you fucked up by this part and couldn't get through this Party City fireball is the reason why I just got thrown down the fucking Death Star fucking terminal.
Yeah.
If you could have handled business now, then Luke doesn't get trained.
Yep.
Maybe Leia is not around.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't make sense to let him go twice, because at the end of this episode, she says, I let him go. It would be, from a writing standpoint, kind of lame to let him go twice. Like, I'll let Kenobi go. And then Kenobi shows up again. Oh, I let him go because she has the tracker. And
I made a note of that. The way Vader was so pissed at the end of this episode does seem to imply that he definitely didn't let him go before.
That was my thought. I was like, I don't think he let, it makes it so dumb. That makes the third episode so dumb to me. It ruins the whole thing. It's like, how you could love a series of something and it's great. Yeah. But if there's a bad, or if the season finale is terrible, I can't watch the show anymore.
Yeah. It does seem like there's some consensus that scene was weird, depending at which nerd fandom contingent you operate in. You're making excuses for it. I see a lot of, this whole he let him go theory, I think, is really just people desperate for any explanation for something that defies explanation otherwise.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
It's like, I think a lot of people are just, some of those areas of the fandom are just not willing to accept that the writing could just be that bad.
Yeah, knock that droid away.
Yeah. Right.
And,
I had to convince
you might be all right for a minute.
I had to convince myself that he had let him go because I couldn't accept, because he just, he lifted Obi-Wan with the Force. If they're trying to say, oh, he burned, he's afraid of fire, it's like, then okay, just force lift Obi-Wan. If you're able to force lift Obi-Wan a second ago, now you can definitely do it again. It just doesn't.
I hope they try to explain that he let him go, only because, again, the alternative that he didn't means the writing is that bad in the third episode.
I need a scene of the Emperor reprimanding Vader. For who the fuck are you?
And isn't the Emperor's whole vibe, which we've learned before, is that he's got some benefit of foresight? So to your point, Curtis, not only are you right that yes, had you finished the job, we could have spared ourselves all this future trouble, but it seems like maybe the Emperor would have some implication of specifically what we're going to have to deal with because you fucked up.
Let me get this straight. You're Darth Vader, and how did he get away again?
Because remember he tells Luke in
I
the
need you to
original
explain
trilogy.
this to me one more time, Dark Lord.
One more time.
Because Emperor knows more or less, give or take, what's coming. Remember the whole thing?
He
was like, he's
it,
coming to me, and Vader's like, he'll come to me.
Yeah.
Like that's his whole vibe. Is like, I kind of have seen this.
Yeah.
This is playing out the way I have foreseen.
Yeah.
So you're right, Curtis. He should be on super hate street right now, with Vader's just ineptitude.
At the very least, you're going to need to kind of explain to me what the fuck is going on.
Also,
here.
it seems a little bit like, and maybe this would have just be fun, but this goes back to how I was kind of weirded out by Vader being alone in this marble room.
Yeah.
Like, where is the Emperor?
That's a good point.
Like,
where does that? That's Mustafar is Vader's place. Well, and it's so funny. They said that when they were trying to think about, or they wanted to go rescue Leia. One of I guess the pilot said that's Vader's system. It's like, it made me think, so how many people know about Vader?
Yeah.
So I was like, what do you mean? That's
I think it's a mystery.
I
thought it was supposed to be a secret. Like, I thought it was,
we don't know. They're not really making it explicit what the general Empire, empirical knowledge is of Darth Vader.
It's got to be in a comic.
Yeah, and how do they know where his ship is? Like, oh, his ship's not there. It's like, how do you have a tracking device on Darth Vader's ship?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's like...
Well, I got the sense with this episode that it's more closer to they all know that he's second to the Emperor, the boss.
Yeah.
Like he's walking around this area, the stormtroopers everywhere.
Yeah, the people part of the path might have an inside scoop because they're directly in the fire with this. So that because the first time I watched her, I was like you said, on hate street, well, that's stupid. And then I watched, I was like, no, that makes sense. Because at first I was like, well, how'd she get away? How did they get off the plane? I was like, well, remember, calm down. She has the Imperial ship.
Right.
She has her codes. They still work.
Yeah.
She was able to.
None of that.
Yeah,
I
that
had
was good.
flashes of that, but you got to let that stuff
No.
go because
Yeah.
And I was
to,
fine because once I watched it the second
I
time,
said to
was
Curtis,
fine.
like, if we get that nitpicky, A New Hope
Yeah.
doesn't work.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's
Empire
some
doesn't work.
There's some weird nitpicky things in Return. Like when Luke was supposed to be hiding from in Return of the Jedi, when Luke is supposed to be hiding from from Vader, and
Oh,
he's
yeah,
just
he's
like
under the
just sitting by the stairs, and he's like, never, or something.
I will
Like,
not fight you.
and
it's like-
he's like 6 feet.
Yeah,
but
he's
you know,
right
it
there,
was
that
the
dog.
'80s, and they were shooting on film,
Yeah.
and like,
No,
they probably thought it was a darker scene.
That was
who
a
knows?
pretty low budget game of hide and seek going
Yeah,
on in the
it's
throne
like,
room.
I'm only nitpicky because I think of the last episode.
No, that's
Yeah,
right.
I'm
And then
still
I
having
rewatched
fun.
it. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
having. This episode was not bad.
It feels
I wanna
good, too,
say
It was
that
fun, yeah.
It wasn't
The setting
a bad episode.
felt, they're in an Imperial ship or
Yeah.
a base, so the hallways looked familiar, and there's
Yeah.
stormtroopers involved, and
Yeah.
there was some. This will be more fun too because last week we basically just bitched the whole time.
Yeah.
Like I would say, I was way more stoked than irked this week.
Oh, yeah.
like
Yeah.
the scene where they turn the lights. Obi
Oh,
kills the
yeah.
lights in the
That was
interrogation
great.
room. The saber comes on. That was badass.
Yeah.
like we're getting some more of those moments. This is the episode that I wish had happened last
Yeah,
week.
it's
Yeah.
so fun. I would have loved it. Like if this was, the only like I said, a rewatch because I was on hate. But if this was I would have been like, great, this is great. I enjoyed this episode.
If we didn't see Vader last episode and we just saw him again,
Yes.
Yeah.
that would feel great. Be like,
Yeah.
oh shit, this dude's finally mad. Like he's fed up.
This is the version of what I thought the episodes would all be like up until the end. Like Vader would pop in and be pissed or give
yeah.
direction, but he's not going to show up with a lightsaber until the very end, and they're going to have their big throwdown, and whatever happens, we'll see. It's like, I mean, you said it best last week, CG. They just blew their load too early, and now it's not going to be as impactful
It's
when they
not.
meet again in the next couple episodes.
no, and it was nice to see Kenobi kick some ass.
Yes.
It was nice to finally see him.
Yeah, Stella's getting her groove back.
Yeah,
a
it
little bit.
was. I was looking forward to that. Like I was like, come on, they can't. How long are they gonna go?
That was cool.
I think it was someone commented saying it's like, how long are we gonna see like this?
Yeah.
like shell of a man.
Yeah.
So it was finally nice.
And
to
he
see
used
him.
some of the same
He-
tricks.
from A New Hope where he did
Yeah.
like the rock,
Yeah.
like the yeah.
That felt fucking great.
Yeah, that was fun.
That
It was.
good. I enjoyed that a lot.
And the same exact shot of the communicator that they used.
oh yeah, with the where they're
Yeah.
in the trash compactor.
same.
Yeah.
I'll do a comparison.
I'm telling you,
was
if
cool.
they had used Star Wars music in this episode, we'd be in here fucking jerking off about how excited we were about this
Yeah.
episode.
It's amazing how
Because
music is
all those action sequences would have felt like original Star Wars vibe.
Yeah.
I don't
Just
know
use
what
it
they're
at the
doing.
biggest moments.
Yeah.
If you are really, I don't know. I'm wondering if they like have to pay John Williams still if they use it.
Then pay him. Then pay him.
That's true. I mean, I don't think that's true, but if it is,
Come
I
on,
agree.
like, just
fucking
pay
him.
I mean, if you could use it for Rebels,
That's
That's
true.
what I'm saying. Like,
It's
if
if you can use it for Rebels, and good lord, then you can use it for the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, which to what Paul keeps saying, and it's true, to at least to us,
Yeah.
this is the biggest shit that's happened since the sequels.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like, this is big Star Wars fucking happenings.
Well,
Yeah.
it's interesting to think, and you think George Lucas sold Star Wars. Does that include the music? Because I don't think it does.
Well, this is what we were talking about earlier. I look, there are people who will know more than me clearly, but I don't think. Usually, it's like work for hire. Like John Williams, even though he's John Williams, was hired to write the score for a Star Wars film,
And he probably gets
most
an
of the
ass fucking
correct.
load
He
up
gets
front.
a giant fee once it was a big deal for Empire and Jedi. I'm sure that fee was huge.
yeah.
But the music is part of the film, and the rights holders to the film, the music is part of that. It's hard for me to believe that he's got like approval rights and publishing money.
Who knows?
You know what I
Maybe
mean?
his
Like, that's
manager is
really
one bad
difficult,
motherfucker.
you know.
Yeah.
Well, and also here's the point: Rebels came before the deal was done, so clearly
Oh, yeah.
Lucasfilm is able to just use the music without spending a fortune because they did it in an animated series.
Yeah.
So unless something shifted when
Lucas
they did
lied.
the
That's
a
Disney
very good
sale,
point.
He's like, well, we don't actually own John Williams.
I mean, I guess it's possible that
I don't
Lucasfilm
know.
went and said, okay, by the way, anytime this shit gets used and you want to use this music, you got to give John Williams.
my boy,
but it doesn't really
check.
matter because your point's well made. Okay, fine. Pay the fucking man.
Pay him.
It's the Obi Wan Darth Vader story. It won't matter as much in Andor or whatever the fuck Jude Law is going to do
Yeah.
or Rosario Dawson. Like, that
Yeah.
shit would be nice to have the music be the continuing thread behind all these stories. But if that's too expensive, you spend the money on Vader and Obi Wan.
And sometimes it doesn't make sense.
Right.
But Obi-Wan Kenobi, Darth Vader, it does.
This
Correct.
is the I mean, it was the biggest gripe we had. It's like this is the closest like series that we are getting to A New Hope, the original trilogy. It's like you think about sequels, prequels. That's all kind of separate, but this is like the closest thing to what we love the most.
They don't even use the Leia theme. Their moment when they're sitting there after the rescue and they're holding hands. I was literally waiting for the Leia theme to come in.
Just undertones of it.
Just a hint of that. Like that melody subtly in the background was all. I was like, oh, surely we're gonna get that moment, and it just never comes. I've got the biggest case of Star Wars music blue balls these days.
Yeah,
and I don't think we're ever gonna get off.
No, I don't think we are.
That music is just as much Princess Leia as Carrie Fisher is.
Yeah, amen.
It's
people don't realize it, but subconsciously,
you're right.
It is.
It is the most important thing to me.
We're still going on about the music.
I mean, well, I think it all actually comes down to it.
Yeah.
Because maybe, like, after watching your little clip of the Imperial March with Vader walking down the street, I think maybe I would have liked the episode if they actually nailed it with the music. Maybe, but
it would have felt like a Star Wars
missing.
moment.
It's missing. It's
well. Also, think about. We talk about this when we talk about the prequels. What's the only good? Well, okay. Speaking for myself, the only good moment in all of the prequels. What is it?
Duel of Fates.
Yeah.
It's the best moment
and
for
yes,
sure.
Darth Maul's a badass, but I guarantee you right now, all three of us, when we're picturing that, we're hearing the doors go bump, bump.
Oh, yeah.
Bump, bump. Like,
Got
you're
that hood
hearing
down.
the music.
Ooh.
It's
That shit
just
was
too
good.
important to take a knee on
It
over
is.
and over again.
I don't know what they're thinking.
Know. Anyway,
All right, well, fuck it. Yeah,
I've got lots of notes on some things that
music's
were good, though.
music's a dry hump for us,
Yeah.
and we can't promise we're not going to bitch about it again, but we're going to try not to.
It's hard not to go back to it.
Yeah.
Though. I thought the episode's cool. I think we're learning a little more about Reva as we're going
notes
on.
here.
Yeah,
I think the Leia, she was hilarious with the whole, like, are we in a staring contest? Yeah, right. What is this like? So she was pretty funny.
Right.
I was like, I don't know why when he was holding up the glass, like, wouldn't you think you would have blaster-proof windows?
I said to Curtis, I was like,
underwater fortress.
They didn't blaster-proof the
Like,
glass that's holding out all the
you're
pressure
just
water.
kind
But
of,
again,
was a thought.
if you go too
but
far,
I
with
get
it,
yeah, exactly. That's nitpicky.
The OG trilogy doesn't hold up under this level of scrutiny.
But this was a good.
it doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It's just the
doesn't.
fact that it's old. It's like the Bible. It's really crazy,
Yeah,
but it's
right.
so old. Everyone's like,
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
But the second someone comes like Joseph Smith or whoever that dude is that said he
Right.
found all the, they're like, man, who is this crazy bastard? You're like, listen, so y'all know all of this is crazy.
Oh. So do you think they're
nothing
taking
against
Leia home? Like,
I don't
so they're on that.
know. I kept going back to the point that you made before that the Leia Obi Wan relationship is actually working for me.
Yeah.
Great.
Within the context of this series, but you're right. Every moment they have makes the believability of A New Hope that much more difficult.
I think they're. I'm assuming now.
We're just gonna have
she's
to
along.
take it.
She's there for the whole thing.
Yeah,
I
we're
think
just
this
gonna
is a
have to take
Leia
it.
Obi Wan. I wouldn't be surprised if they're gonna do a Leia spin-off show.
Oh, you
She
think?
meets up with Todd Kenobi. Old
Todd
Todd.
Kenobi.
I mean, she has a appearance in a couple times in Rebels, a few times where she's like kind of young, bossy Leia.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, she's in in
Okay.
Rebels.
I don't think I
once or
got that
twice.
far.
I definitely did.
But I wouldn't be surprised if.
Did they use the Leia theme?
I hope so.
I mean, in
I
the
don't
only
remember.
2 episodes I watched of Rebels, the Star Wars music was all over
was
the
good.
like loud and proud.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
good.
It was
Yeah.
good, especially and I think I sent y'all something where everyone's talking about the canon thing, like we mentioned. Rebels takes place after this, and the Grand Inquisitor. It is the same Grand Inquisitor, and they made a note saying we take canon seriously, so
So
we're not.
he's
so
not
he's
actually
gonna come
dead?
back. Homeboy is gonna pop back up.
That's cool.
That is cool.
How will they explain that though? Because
Well-
we've never seen a Jedi get stabbed all the way through with the
Well,
saber.
we did get to see someone cut in fucking half.
Yeah,
No one dies in Star Wars. That's kind of
unless
lame.
they
though.
want him to. Yeah, it's like
Yeah, that's getting more and more pronounced. as time goes
Qui-Gon
on.
gets killed by the same.
That's what I'm
hit,
saying.
Definitely.
And Qui-Gon never even like. We'll get into this because clearly he's going to show up at some point as a
Yeah.
Force Ghost. I think before this is done.
Yeah, he didn't disappear.
Yeah,
No, he didn't disappear.
So
He
that's
burned
not
his ass up.
necessarily a part of the Force Ghost process. Clearly, because
Well, it should be.
Yeah. I wonder what George Lucas thinks about this. I'd be curious to know, or if he just doesn't even watch it. But I'd be curious to know what his stance on this would be, because it's so close to his baby.
I'll bet he. I mean, we're obviously speculating. I don't think he would have sold the franchise if he still felt. If he was so precious that it would genuinely bother him
Yeah.
and give him like legit stress and FOMO, I don't think he'd have sold it.
No. That's
I
true.
think he had every right to just keep this close to his chest and never let anyone fucking touch it. And I can only guess he got to a point in his life. He's like, you know what? I don't need Star Wars to die with me.
Yeah.
I might not be down for it, but let this go on for another
Go have a
100
life,
years.
Skywalker
Grandmaster.
Ranch. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you,
totally.
George.
I had a few little like notes here. Oh yeah, Leia doesn't, when they're interrogating Leia, like to tell her all the info, like she doesn't really even know, correct? She knows that there's a path and she knows there's good guys that are working together, but it's not like she could sit there and say, yes, the new rebels are on this planet, and they're like, she doesn't, at no point does she just say, like, look, I don't know.
That's
I
a
know
good
as
point,
much,
yeah.
I literally know as much as you do to Reva in that moment when Reva's drilling her on X, Y, and Z. I thought it was interesting that she didn't say, yeah, I met these people. I was with Obi Wan. You were standing in the same room I was standing in.
Yeah.
There's nothing more that I know that you know.
Well, it's funny because even Kenobi, like, or they say it's like she does know. It's like when the guy's like, I don't want to be a part of it. He's like, I wish that was the case, but she has this information. And you're right. I don't remember her ever getting
more
the
than what they
details
already know
of all their secrets and their bases. And
Yeah, who knows? Who the fuck knows?
I mean, it's not that big a deal. It's not like the
I
biggest
thought
point.
about it though when I was watching it. I was
But,
like,
yeah.
how does she know? I mean, are you wasting
Yeah.
your time here? I thought there was a missed moment in that opera. I don't know what the moment is, but
Yeah.
But Leia's obviously force sensitive. I thought there was like a missed like, what's going on here moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, oh my goodness, are you force sensitive?
Yeah.
Because that would
she
have
was definitely
brought.
fighting off.
She
that.
did
that
say,
would've
she's
brought
like, you're
them-
strong.
Yeah, she was
really?
definitely fighting because she was trying to do what she did to the fake Jedi on Dayu, where she's like, I don't need you to tell me. I don't need you. I'm just, and then she got the information.
Well, that's good though. I mean, that's always consistent. Like the whole thing is
Yeah.
like for the weak-minded, right? It's
Yeah.
like,
Oh,
and
yeah.
clearly Reva may not know that she's like a Skywalker kid, but like,
Yeah.
well, I can't really penetrate this kid the way others.
Yeah.
It would have upped the
sounded really
stakes though
bad.
if Reva would have looked at her and been like, "Who are you?"
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's actually true. If she is so strong and she's this kid, don't you think it'd be like, Vader, you're going to need to check this girl out because, I mean,
Yeah, I mean that gets into that murky area. We don't really know the
Yeah.
degree to what they can. It's hard to know. Like she clearly can tell that she's strong.
Yeah.
But can she tell that, this kid is crazy strong? Like maybe Skywalker spawned strong.
Well, it's
you know.
but then they go off and say with the guy was like, yeah, I know what the Empire could do. My wife tried to hide her force sensitiveness, and the Inquisitors still found her.
Yeah,
so
that's
you
true.
think they'd be a little, but again,
I laughed at how quick that character went from no to yes.
Oh yeah, yeah, exactly.
Tough sell. Tough
Like,
sell.
yeah, that's it. You know what? You want my help? You want my help?
Look, there's
You got
no
it,
way I
yeah.
can do this. I had a wife. I'll do it.
I'll do it. You're right. I was like, he would totally just. I was like, oh, sure, all right,
Take
cool.
it easy, Ice Cube. It didn't
Yeah.
take much.
That's Ice Cube's son, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's Ice Cube's son.
Yeah.
He's awesome.
He was good in that
He was
movie
good.
playing Ice Cube.
It was at the end. They were like, I
great.
forget what's his name died, Wade or something like that, and like.
Yeah.
It's like, are we supposed to be upset about this?
Yeah.
like I was like, everyone's like, where's Wade?
Sucks to be
Wade.
Wade.
I was like, who the hell is Wade? Like, who cares? Like
It's
I know
actually cool
like,
that they acknowledge. Usually, when someone in Star Wars like that dies, it's like the next scene they don't even.
yeah,
Yeah.
right.
I mean,
Porkins
look
blows
at,
up, and 2 minutes later, we're on to something
Yeah,
else.
rest in
Well, look at the
peace,
se-
Porkins.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the sequels when
funeral scene
Poe
for
gets the
Porkins.
entire bombing fleet murdered,
Yeah,
and it's like,
totally.
well, shit happens.
Yep.
Yeah, Poe's like, well,
Yeah, we took it out. We
We
took
got
out the
we got the W, so
Yeah.
fuck it. Yeah.
I don't know.
he's like the Michael Jordan of
this-
Starfighters.
This definitely because it was what a 37-minute episode, so shorter. You know,
Yeah, Curtis and I remember this. This is not like I'm not really thinking this makes the episode shittier, but I did laugh at. They legitimately call that place the Fortress Inquisitorius.
Oh, God.
Did you hear that?
I did hear that.
Is it Fortress Inquisitorius?
I thought he was making a joke.
I thought so too. I was like, guys, come on.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna get hung up on this, but you got to be
It's
able to
well,
do
that's the
better.
thing. It's like
I raised an eyebrow.
Mando is so good. Like I kind of went back and I watched
Fortress
Mando to kind of compare.
Inquisitorius.
This should be so much higher budget.
That's some Spaceball shit.
It
Yeah.
is some Spaceball shit. It totally is some Spaceball shit.
But
But whatever, it's not all shitty. Let's say good things.
No,
Because
the
I
good-
thought one little subtle detail that was kind of badass was the hallway with all the Jedi that were in the tombs.
Oh, that was
they're
pretty cool.
preserving. And then if you notice,
Yeah, it was
CG,
pretty metal.
in the conference room, which I'll call it, where the sabers.
Sabers. I was gonna
so they're
say that.
clearly
Yep.
keeping the sabers of all the
Yeah.
Jedis they hunt down and
Yep.
kill, and keep them as like a trophy room, which
Yeah.
is kind of dark and cool.
Well, in Rebels, there is a moment where I wonder if they're going to reference this, where they use I guess, I don't know, they use the dead Jedis to kind of like message. I guess they still. I don't even know how to explain this. There's an episode of Rebels where they use one of the, like an old Jedi they thought was dead to kind of coax Jedis to come rescue. They make it seem like they're still around, and then when the guy showed up, it was just a corpse.
They do like a Weekend at Bernie's vibe with this Jedi.
Yeah, exactly.
Weekend at Bernie's ass.
They're still useful even
Jedi
after
communicator.
death.
Beep, boop, 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 beep,
So
boop,
it's
boop.
weird. I don't know if they're trying, if that's a nod to Rebels, if they're going to try to do that.
Yeah.
It's certainly fascinating, and it was cool to see.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing though, is I guess we'll find out in this and the Ahsoka series, like how much they're intentionally nodding to the animated people. Yeah. But I think it's nice that being someone who doesn't watch the animated series and having no knowledge of any potential connection there, I just thought it was a cool detail to see the Jedi in those tombs and the sabers. Like, oh, that's kind of a cool, dark, edgy detail they put in. Like, it's almost, I guess the point I'm making is it better without that? Like, I'm the non-animated guy watching this, and those moments are, I don't ever have any hang-ups. They're just fun little details.
No, I think they're cool. I think that, I actually really enjoyed this episode.
Yeah, it's a good one.
I had a lot of fun, man.
I thought it was a great...
Cruising around an Imperial base, sneaking
Yeah.
around.
Yeah.
Like,
It's classic Kenobi, and it was
Seeing
Obviously,
Kenobi get his groove back, like Stella.
This is what this is a good percentage of all the Star Wars movies is good guys sneaking around some version of an Empire base to rescue somebody. And yes, the cynical view is that's unoriginal. They've done it a bunch of times. Like, yeah, you know what? I don't care. That's what makes it feel like
It feels
Star Wars.
fucking great.
I was
It's fun.
relieved after this one. I was, like I said, I think I had to calm myself down and be like, you're being ridiculous.
Yeah.
You're disliking things just because you didn't like the last episode.
Yeah.
Calm down. And then I rewatched, and everything that I was like, well, that doesn't make sense. I was like, yeah, it does. They explain it here. She still has her codes. She still has her clearance codes. She still makes those nods.
I was already like when they when Reva's explaining to Vader that she's tracking the ship. I did joke like, well, that hasn't happened in every action movie of all time. But second to that, I was like, well, how did she put that on the ship? Like, I didn't see that, and I was pleasantly surprised with the droid. It's like, oh, that was clever. I didn't see that coming. And
that was quite clever.
It totally makes
It was
sense.
good.
They're getting. In this episode, way more things were done right than poorly. There's the blanket commentary about the music, but in general, this one was good.
And what I do kind of like about this series is that I don't know where they're going, and that's like because I have no idea.
Sure,
I'm excited.
So there is that kind of excitement of like, what's going to happen next?
Yeah.
So they're doing a good job of that. Where I'm like genuinely excited to know what's going to happen next.
There's only 2 episodes that are going to be around 40 minutes.
I'm assuming the last episode's going to be like over. The first episode's 55 minutes, and I'm assuming the last one's going to be an hour. But yeah, so they're all on that thing. Are they? I'm assuming they're taking Leia home. Like that would be the smart choice.
Yeah. So
right?
remind me where they all ended up at the end of this episode.
So they got away in the
that's right.
the speeder or
Wade's dead.
Wade's poor Wade.
Everyone's bummed on Wade.
Wade?
And then they're just in a ship and they
They're
can
in
go
the
wherever
ship,
they want.
So they can go where they want.
Yeah, you're right. They should go straight to Alderaan,
Straight
drop
to
off
Alderaan.
Leia, get the protection of all that, and then
Yeah,
figure out
Leia
what
needs
to do.
to get the F
Is there going to be a
home.
big battle on Alderaan with all those like dudes in the vest and the big old egg helmets?
Oh,
That's
yeah.
an
Like an
interesting
Imperial.
thought.
Are we going to see? It'd be cool to see some, Star
think-
Destroyers flying in on Alderaan.
I think the problem there is at that point it would imply that the Empire is essentially at war with Alderaan,
yeah,
which
and then
would
it wouldn't
be
make
too
sense.
soon.
They're a peaceful. Yeah.
We're a peaceful blah blah blah. We don't have any blah blah.
I don't know. They seem to not really like. I know they care about the canon and all that, but it's like, do they?
Well, this still ties into the more this Leia story continues, the harder the
Yeah.
A New Hope narrative exists, because you're right. It's like the more we know about Alderaan, like they don't know that Leia is a Skywalker, but clearly Reva and them know that she's Princess Leia of Alderaan.
Yeah.
So they associate Alderaan with
Kenobi.
like a traitorous 10-year-old. So
That's
why
very
later
true.
on is Alderaan just like this innocent planet? You'd think the Emperor, even if he doesn't have a Death Star yet, would be like, we need to keep an eye on Alderaan.
It's like, hey, you running with Kenobi for a good minute there.
Yeah.
Like, that's a very good point.
Oh, yeah. Fuck.
'Cause
Like,
it is-
why does Alderaan get a hall pass from now on and up until A New Hope?
Yeah, we still have 10 more years until...
Well, I guess I say that out loud. It's 7 to 10 more years.
Yeah.
If they're doing other things, they do blow up the fucking planet.
Yeah, maybe that's like, it's for you and Kenobi. I
she
don't
does
know.
get her planet
They
blown
are
up.
taking, they're going for it. They're pushing it. They're definitely pushing it. But maybe it's like, we're trying to make it entertaining. But I don't know. I just hope they don't. I don't know.
The Tala character's great.
I think she's great.
By the way,
yeah.
I think that's a well done new character. Like I'm genuinely, like I don't know that she's gonna survive this series, but I kind of want her to because she's a welcome addition to the world.
Is she ex-Imperial? I'm getting the sense she was ex.
Because
they called her a traitor. Riva calls her a traitor. Maybe she doesn't know.
Oh, that's an interesting point. I just figured they said that because she's been masked. I got the sense that she didn't start out Imperial, but she went as an undercover. Like, it's a good question. I just assumed that she went and joined up as like an undercover mission on behalf of the new rebellion.
Or, which I don't even know if they explained it, maybe she was just in the Empire and she sort of saw some of the wacky stuff that was going on and was like, I'm going to try to help from within.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know.
Because she does have those access. I mean, she has the ship. She has the code still work.
Yep.
Like, so, I mean, I just got the sense from that last scene where Riva chased her down and said traitor. It's like, is she saying that just because they had this exchange? And or was she? Because I forget what she says, but it's like I was never part of my life. So it's curious.
Oh yeah, that was a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like
Riva,
her, though.
I like that we're getting a little more Riva. I think they're doing a good job of just kind of. She obviously took that the Jedi thing off the wall.
Yeah, I said to Curtis, I still think there's a chance that your theory is right. That in the end, Riva may end up softening at some
Coming
point.
back
and I started
to the light.
wonder when she was interrogating Leia that she may have a moment of like, we're not that different.
Yeah, I thought
you
for
were
sure.
relocated as a young age. You just got taken to a different place than I did, and that might create some sort of like hint of empathy for her in this process. My instinct is that it still won't happen, but I do think it's possible.
It's interesting because that's a good point because you think about like how you mentioned in the last episode with Kenobi saying I was taken from my family. Maybe they're going to use that to show a clip of her young getting ripped away from her parents to become a Jedi. So,
and she's like another one of the. It's why it was so easy for the dark side to turn her because they could just prey on this. Like, these people are not your friends. They took. Which, by the way, I mentioned this in the last episode. The more we learn about this, the more the Jedi don't really seem like good guys.
No.
So they just cruise up and say, hey, so we couldn't help but feel that your kids got that. And then you go back to Phantom Menace.
Yeah,
again.
and they took Anakin.
I mean, I guess
from,
the implication there was like he was especially strong, and there was like this whole special scenario.
Obviously,
and
needed
her
a
mom
mother
and his
figure.
mom was like, "Get him
We're
out of this
slaves anyway."
shithole."
So, but you imagine that playing out where it wasn't a slave situation.
Yeah.
It wasn't like the chosen one. It's like that. What parents like? Yes, total stranger. Take my child away from me that I will never get to see again, and have that not be a traumatic moment.
Yeah, I think because
How are they going to address that in the Jedi Order?
I don't know. I think I wouldn't be surprised if they do. Man, I'm just hypothetical here, just because you mentioned that last time, and I was thinking about it. How it was like, they make the Jedi not seem that good, and then in this episode, she's saying I was taken away from my family. So maybe they're gonna connect those kind of thoughts together and be like, show a montage of her getting taken away, and she was still young enough as a Padawan to not fully embrace the Jedi way. That it would be easy for her to turn her back on that.
It does make you wonder too if they're laying groundwork. Like if that idea of the Jedi dogma being flawed is part of the Ahsoka storyline, that maybe this is priming the pump for what they're going to do in Ahsoka, where I imagine that series is going to have a lot of flashbacks to how she got to where we're joining her story.
Yeah.
And from what you guys tell me and
It's
other
all
people,
in that Clone Wars,
it's all this like, I'm not down with all your fucking rules. I'm not trying to be... This is dog shit, which seems like the most logical scenario now that we learn more about the Jedi Order.
Yeah, I mean, Luke obviously had some issues with it.
Yeah.
In episode whatever.
Well, that's
7.
the thing that we're having issues with, though, right? Because yes, you're right. That's what it sounds like. But when he's young, like this was the thing we talked about in the Book of Boba Fett stuff. Like, why is that version of Luke post Return of the Jedi still sitting there with Grogu? Like, you can't have a friend and learn after you're literally sitting here because you went against the Jedi Code and focused on your friends and stuck with people you care about.
And based off of his interaction and his experience with getting his dad back, you'd think he'd have taken all of this stuff and then the next Jedi Academy
Teach him.
would have been like, fix these things.
Yeah, correct.
I'd have thought
But he
about
didn't.
that.
He fucked it up.
and that's why.
And now we're having to deal with all this bullshit.
Fucking the shirtless wonder,
Yeah,
Kylo Ren.
Yeah.
I had a thought about why they did that in Book of Boba. I think that was a way for them to kind of get Luke out of the equation. Like to be like, choose the Mando or me. I think that was a way to get. I don't know. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
I think that was a way to get Grogu back to Mando and to be able to phase Luke.
Here's a thought.
That's what I think. There's like a lot less thought behind it. And
Yeah,
I think that's what's exactly.
I
Do you
think
think-
just let's get Luke out of this.
Do you think there's a scenario that they're building? Because I assume at this point, now that they know that in 2024 it's Favreau and Filoni taking over from Kennedy, so those guys are probably thinking like the next 10 years of narrative. That maybe what they're also laying. I think Filoni is crazy stoked on the Ahsoka character.
Oh, yeah.
They
Well, he invented her.
he,
Right.
yeah, him and
He
Luke
invented
did
her.
the
Rosario
combo, yeah.
Dawson's a pretty strong casting choice. So they probably
Fantastic.
they're probably optimistic about a lucrative long game with this character. Maybe what happens is because she doesn't buy into any of that dogmatic nonsense, she will teach Grogu because like, look, I don't care about any of this shit. I'll teach you some things.
Yeah.
I'll help you out here. Now, I know people will hear me and say, yeah, but in Mando, remember she said she couldn't train him. It's just explicitly said that when Mando finds her for the first time. But maybe after seeing Grogu and Luke interact and the choice, and maybe they cross paths again with Mando, and Mando isn't like, listen, Luke did this, and she's like, yeah, that was kind of lame. All right, maybe I'll do it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I could see that being a thing down the road. And again, maybe that's great. If there's a whole sequence, it's all about the execution. If they do it in a way that feels good and is well executed, an Ahsoka, Grogu, occasional training thing with Mando still around, that could be a lot of fun.
Yeah, as long as they don't have him hopping around and grunting.
There is so much canon. They are fucking dealing with a hornet's nest.
They are dealing with a hornet's
Well, I know
nest.
Favreau's working
You're right,
on.
Curtis.
Season 3 Mando's coming out. He says he's already writing season 4 Mando.
Who?
Favreau.
Favreau. That's why I think Mando's so good because that is Favreau's baby.
Yeah.
I think. But
He
Filoni's
seems
got
to
the
be
others.
our type of brother.
yeah,
They're definitely like all in a team on all things, but you're right. Like Mando is his thing,
And it's the
Ahsoka
best.
is clearly going to be Filoni's thing, and you know,
If I were to use my force sensitive intuition, I would say that the shit that we really dig is because of Favreau.
yeah.
Well, I think Reva's going to turn for the good because I think our homeboy Inquisitor is going to come back and have. But if he's coming back, is they keeping that a secret, or are they going to show a scene where he kind of wakes up and near death?
I don't know. That also sounds risky, mostly because there wasn't enough going on with that character where his return will be that big of a deal.
Impactful, unless it was to kind of
just
sell her
seem-
out, be like
That dude was fucking. He was scary though. He was great.
He was great, but it was also so brief that him returning. I don't know if the emotion of wow he's back will supersede the how is he back?
Well, I think everybody
feeling.
from
You know what I
animated
mean?
fans
Right.
are going to be like, they know he's coming back.
Because so much of this show depends on.
Well, he's not dead.
He's not dead. He can't be dead. He cannot be dead
It's
because
impossible.
he's
Impossible.
in Rebels. He's and like I said, Rebels is 5 years before New Hope. This is
Hate
9
this
years
shit.
before. So, and they just came out with that thing because apparently it's a big deal.
People need to die.
This is
everyone-
another example of why this would be more fun if everybody was like me and didn't do
Didn't
the
know?
animated
Yeah.
series. I'm not saying it's a spoiler for me. I'm just saying you're right, and everybody else knows this as well.
Yeah.
Which makes that potential less interesting because now we know that this guy has to come back. It's more fun.
It
if
is.
You don't.
It is. It is.
People
kind of a
love the
bummer.
animated stuff, but for us, it just paints corners.
Built-in
I just
spoilers
can't, like,
a little
I try
bit.
so hard. Like, I'll occasionally, because I have kids and I, can watch a few things. So I'll put on. They have a Clone Wars, important episodes to watch.
Right.
But even then, I'm like, this is what you consider important. I was like, it's just kind of. I just can't get into cartoons. I just
It's
can't.
tough.
I just
Even
can't do it.
full CG characters,
Yeah.
that are lifelike are very difficult.
Yeah.
I will say they nailed Snoke though.
Oh
Yeah, they did.
For some reason, like I felt like that dude was there.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's also what 15 plus years of advancements.
getting
in
good.
tech,
Yeah, and
know.
also the larger budget of an actual film.
Yeah.
Also, just the tasteful choices of the filmmakers. It's just like Abrams knows better that in these kinds of scenes, we need to have the lighting be a certain way so it doesn't show the seams, so to speak.
Yeah.
Whereas in Phantom Menace, like
He was
fucking
just
Jar Jar is like in harsh afternoon
Oh,
light,
man.
cruising around with 100 other Jar Jar looking characters. fucking the Star Wars cartoon hour.
I hate going back and watching like the special. Like it's like, why did you throw that in there? Why'd you throw that into like a new one? But
Jabba's scene was it was so much cooler without that.
yeah, he didn't need it.
Yeah.
It's like,
It was some dude. I remember like
is George Lucas really a badass, or is George Lucas with restrictions?
Yeah.
I think
better.
Well, like I said, I think in our first intro, I was like, he was on the forefront of kind of like filming when he did Star Wars, like just kind of getting and creating all these effects that no one else was doing. And I mean, you think about like that became Pixar basically. So he was on the forefront of that, and I think
it's almost
he just
like
went
they were
full tilt.
more worried about pushing technology forward than actually telling a great story.
Yeah, I think he was obsessed with it because it was so unnecessary in those. Like you said, there's a lot of cool moments that like the special editions enhanced the original trilogy, like the X-wings, the original speeder in A New Hope was janky. Totally. You could see like they had mirrors underneath.
Most of Phantom Menace actually works visually, most of it, because they had to blend real sets with CG. But like, what's that? Attack of the Clones. Yeah. There are so many really, really bad CG moments in that. Well, like those aliens and shit that the clone aliens.
Yeah. It comes back to the same thing. If you do it, if it's fun enough, you forgive all these other things. Yeah. If you're having fun and it feels like Star Wars, you innately forgive these things. But when you're not having a genuine Star Wars experience, then you're not just like a kid at story time, just like enthralled with the next development. What you start doing the like looking around the room thing, and you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah, it takes you out.
This is stupid. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like when you're not being transported and totally enthralled with what you're being presented with, you start paying attention to the details. And when the details aren't on point and you're not entertained, nah, dog.
Yeah.
Nah. No. Well, it was a good episode. I
feel like maybe we
bitched more than it sounds. Overall, I was genuinely enjoyed this one.
Yeah.
I think the large oversight with the Vader thing has kind of tainted us.
Correct.
Yeah.
And we couldn't enjoy this really awesome episode as much as we would have, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, I wonder if they're trying to
we still have a little bit of PTSD.
Yeah.
From like a
Episode
possible
3.
wackiness. Yeah, man, but yeah, we are. I mean, I actually did have fun though.
Yeah.
Despite my grumpy demeanor.
You know what I was thinking on my drive over here? One of the things that I'm having is probably not fair for Obi Wan is I just finished Stranger Things last night, and I'll admit I'm a huge Stranger Things fan, and I'm enjoying it so much that I have no choice but to accidentally, like I'm literally watching Stranger Things. Like I finished Stranger Things last night and then doing Obi Wan today, and the difference there is even on some of the like. You can argue about this, that, and the other not being super believable. But again, because I'm having fun and I'm invested in the characters in that story, I'm just not worried about these little details. And so when you pivot to Obi-Wan, there's not anything exponentially shittier going on from a production standpoint. It's just not quite to that degree of emotional investment and fun component yet to where I just don't care about any of that.
I don't think it's... I just feel
it's
like...
not bad, to be clear. This is a good episode.
But they should be knocking it out of the park.
Right.
If Mando is incredible, and it is, Mando is is the best Star Wars thing out there right now. I don't think anything comes close. Like in terms of like new.
It seems
Star
like
Wars,
that's pretty universally
like
accepted
it's like
now, too, right?
I gave up on Star Wars.
I don't know about Universal because who knows what these kids.
But I mean,
are
even
thinking.
these prequel psychos also are digging Mando.
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah,
good. And I said, I cruised through season 1 the last 3 days of Mando,
and I think
it's probably so good.
I like season 2's even better.
Season 2's the best. Well, they're both great,
but it's just such a good show. But so for Kenobi, they should just be knocking this out of the park.
I would say it's probably more difficult to knock legacy characters out of the park.
That's a very important
But there's little
point.
things they could be doing.
Prequel
better.
people are gonna love it. OG fuckers like us who maybe even saw these in the theaters. We're gonna have problems.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Curtis.
It's a tough fucking position
because
to be in.
they're not treading on sacred territory in Mando the way this.
Yeah, I mean,
look at us for Christ's sake.
The director is probably younger than me.
Yeah,
they get Vader wrong in one episode, and people like us are out here making web series about how shitty it was. Like that's the sensitive ground they're working within.
Not as many people are worked up about it as us, but also they're like,
well, they fucking
a little bit of us. I think they're just a silent. I don't want to say majority, but a silent group of people that the people that are upset are not the type to go on the internet.
Don't underestimate the power of fan denial, and I say that from my own personal experience. When we talked about the prequels, I watched Phantom Menace in the theater like 6 times, and if you had asked me,
I literally went 15 times
like
in the theater.
After the first couple times, I was still telling people it was great, and I think I was subconsciously in denial, and it finally took a half a dozen screenings in the theater before I was like, you know what? This just isn't it.
It doesn't work.
It really wasn't.
And I never even saw... I don't even remember going to see episode 3 in the theater.
I tried to love those so much. I remember buying the DVDs. I saw them all a bunch of times. Going to see the DVD, buying the DVDs. I was forcing myself to try to love those.
Yeah, I got the DVDs back here, man.
Yeah, I have them all, and I remember thinking it's like, but my big thing with the prequel, I know we're getting off topic, but it's like the Vader reveal at the end. Like that's gonna make it all worth. For me, what the most important thing of the prequel is like getting to see Vader. And there was only one impactful moment of that was when... but we'll get into that.
We should do a prequel
we need to do
episode.
A prequel episode after
We'll
this.
do a prequel episode once
It'll
we
be
get through
hilarious.
Once everything settles down with Disney.
But I'm excited. I'm excited for the next... This episode got me excited again.
I'm looking forward to... I mean, it's inevitable. They're going to have to fight again.
Yep.
So I'm just going to be positive.
Yeah,
my expectations are now appropriately managed with the music. I know it's not going to be what I want.
Exactly.
So I'll hopefully go into the next couple episodes with less of a chip on my shoulder. Just like, okay, it's not going to be great. And so I won't constantly be feeling let down.
And they might truly be waiting for bigger moments. They might truly be like, all right, episode 6.
I'll save a small amount of space in my head for hope there.
And maybe they were trying to do the build. It's like, all right, if it's 6 series, at episode 3, we need something big.
Yeah.
And then like episode 4 was kind of like... I mean, not a lot of action. There's definitely cool action, but it was nothing huge happened in this episode. It was a great, like, kind of moved it along, but nothing like dramatic happened. So then I have a feeling episodes say they're going to do something huge.
Yeah,
I don't know.
In their
are they
mind,
going Alderaan? Where are they heading?
Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see what happens.
If Obi-Wan's escape in episode 3 was more believable, it would have been cool.
That's a good point.
And they made a note.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Totally.
Where Reva says where it goes. Did she program her little droid to follow Kenobi now instead of Leia? I don't know. That's the exciting part. Is that I just really don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, or maybe
I'm excited.
Maybe they realize there's a tracker in there, and that's the explanation for why they don't go back to Alderaan.
Yeah, interesting.
Who knows?
But
that's why it's fun. We don't know.
Yeah, that is fun.
Fucking tracker.
Neato gang.
Neato. Well,
Curtis,
well,
I think we're good.
Joan,
Send us videos. We haven't received any before. Send questions, comments. We really want to do this, but put them up on screen.
Armando.
Cooperstein.
Oh, yeah.
Cooperstein,
Armando, Matt, we know you're out there. We appreciate you guys. Film yourself asking a question or just telling us we're full of shit. Whatever it is, we'll sort of digitally put you in the conversation.
Yeah.
We will eventually be able to have more guests in here digitally for full conversations, but we're going to get through the Obi Wan series first because we're trying to stay on top of this and be quick on the turnaround. But anyway, send us your videos. 100 subs feels really good, y'all. Thank you, guys. We're just getting started, and we'll be here next week. Doing it over again.
We blow this jib stand?
Let's punch it, Curtis.